1 phase, 2 phase, 3 of a cycle, okay, of a trend. We have the Segredo radar. We have the moving averages. Now, by the way, this whole thing is a spreadsheet, much like an Excel document, so you can customize it, meaning you could remove this if you wanted to. You could remove that. You could move this over here, etc. Another cool thing that you can do is go down here where it says theme. To me, that's just, I feel like I'm driving a Porsche when I look at this thing when it's dark. Call me crazy. And now I think this is going to help answer a couple questions that I see coming up. I'm going to back out of here because what I want to do is I want to show you the FAQ section. But before we leave, over here in the announcements section, you have the opportunity to attend these live trading rooms. And you can attend as many of them as you want. As you can see, they're every day. And just like you logged into this webinar, you follow the same format to log into those at the appropriate time. So now let's go out. I want to show you where the FAQ section is, because this is important. I would spend some time reading each one of these and making sure that you understand them. Because the more you understand, the more control you are of your future. Real simple. And it answers great questions. What's a correlated market? What's an HFT? How often are the quants available? Etc. Now, one of you asked, how do you find the question was, how do you find the Japanese yen on the Segredo? What is it under? Well, we know that yen is a currency, and so 6J is Japanese yen, and then as it changes contracts, you're going to look down here at the months. So, for example, it might say, just for example, the Japanese yen might say JY, and then if you're in the month of August or July, it'll say JYN, and then the number 13 for the year afterwards. And so here's your example right here. It says, you know, an example of the euro symbol for December 12 contract would be EC, right, we get EC from there, Z for the month, December 12. Now, I actually did this over the weekend, and it has changed the performance of my Firefox browser as it relates to the quant. There's some tips here. Cheryl has some instructions in a PDF which you can open up and just go line for line. You know, do the first line, then complete the second one, then complete the third one. For those of you that would like more videos on the quants, here's an introduction. Here's how to use the spreadsheet. Here's how to use the charting. And then this is a video from Cheryl on how to improve your performance of Segredo Quants on Firefox. All right, cool. Let me take a look at my agenda. I want to make sure I'm staying on track. Okay, sign up is real easy. For shadow traders, what you'll do is you'll enter shadowtraders.segredoquants.com. You'll hit enter, and it automatically prompts you to your sign-up process. The reason that you want to enter shadow traders first is because you get a discounted rate. If I'm not mistaken, it's $100 a month right now, which is pretty awesome to have a robot working for you all the time to give you across all markets trading signals, and you can get them in any place that has an internet connection. If you do have questions, I want to direct you to this portal right here. You can do the contact, or help. And you can submit a request. Okay, good question. Rob, when is the best time to trade 6J? I'm going to show you a trade that happened yesterday, right as the market was opening. For my time, it was 5 o'clock p.m. Central. 6E, the best time to trade is when the market's trading. Sometimes there's some early morning activity, and when I mean early, I mean real early. You know, sometimes well, I believe the market opens at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so there's some market activity there, and then sometimes there's some movement around 4 o'clock. But I don't purposely do anything at 2 or 4 in the morning, so I, planned my life around trading the 6J because, like I said, I work from, 8 to 5, and then I come home and put myself in front of the computer. Margin for the 6J, that depends on your broker. So I don't know what broker you use, so it's going to change. I think for the one that I use, which is AMP, I believe it's 400. But a lot of the times, each one of the brokers on their websites has a tab that you can click on and learn more about how much the margins are per contract, per instrument. All right, so here we go. Time to trade. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you a trade that happened last night at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time on the yen. I'll bring him up in a minute. This gives me an opportunity to talk about the charts. I wanted to explain to you what's on my NinjaTrader charts and why. So let me just go where I need to go first. And what I'm going to do, there's a particular reason that I'm starting at 5:05 p.m. because something really cool happens and makes the setup for the perfect trade completely obvious. Okay, so let me just make sure I remember where the entry point is. Okay, all right. Again, it'd help if I was on the right instrument. So this is the 6J, the Japanese yen, and in front of you I have a 5-minute chart on the left and I have a 1-minute chart on the right. So this, like I said, the market opens for the yen at 5 o'clock my time, Central Standard Time, and so this doesn't happen every day. I'm sorry, and the 1-minute chart is lagging here, but we can kind of guess what's getting ready to come at us, right? If you look at this 5-minute chart, what we have is a bearish fan, which is breaking out, and that's when all of the moving averages, you have the 13 EMA, the 20 SMA, the 50, which is the fuchsia colored one, and then the 100 moving average begin to fan out like fingers fanning out. Come on, NinjaTrader. Thank you. All right, ask and you shall receive. All right, so I'm going to play this build up. Now, we're talking tonight about the perfect trade, okay? I asked Barb, how did you come up with the name and what does it mean? And she said, it's the best set up for a trend that she could find. She's working on an auto trading program right now that enters perfect trades, and it's from what I hear, it's quite fantastic. So we're going at 10x the normal speed, 10 times the normal speed, and what do we see? So it's 5 o'clock, the market has opened for me, and I just see price action going down. Now, if I'm a perfect trader, I'm getting real excited. Okay, and on the 1 minute, here's the perfect fan. This is a beautiful thing. I love seeing this because we know that this is not going to last forever, right? We know that the S3 is actually can be a formidable barrier. There's going to be some action. There's going to be some. It may hold up here, may go through. We need this 13 to get a little bit closer, but it's definitely stopped the price action. It was going down, going down, going down, going down. Momentum finally diverged, broke off. Here we are. And now they're deciding, do we want to go past this? Do we want to go back up? Where do we want to go? But let's stop it for a moment and let's just take a look at this. We need to have our criteria in front of us. We're going to be looking for a trade going long because the price action for the past 15 minutes since the market opened, it's been going south. It's been going short. And this is what we're looking for, okay? I'm going to move this over here. Oops. We're looking for, on the 1 and 5 minute charts, for the MACD to be below the center line, which they are, so fantastic, and trending towards the center line. We need them both to be doing this. Melanie's concept of matchy-matchy, what happens on the 1, we want to see on the 5. And if we're not patient enough to wait for it, we're going to enter a losing trade, or we're going to enter a trade at the wrong time and panic and click out and cause ourselves to lose some ticks. You know, last week the question kept coming up, how do you avoid a fake out? Well, the first step is patience. So, but what I like about this is I'm sitting here watching this build up, for me, is a couple of great things have happened. We got the MACD on the 5 and the 1 below the center line, and now I'm waiting for this blue line to start trending up towards the center line on the 1 and the 5, and then we can check that one off. And by the way, I like this trade criteria because there's only a few things we got to look at. Barb gives us a tip here. She says if the MACD is above the center line on the 5 and below the center line on the 1, or vice versa, don't take the trade. The whole concept of this trade is that the 1 minute and the 5 minute charts are in sync. That is the whole premise behind this trade. The second set of criteria that we need to look at and watch as this is building a bearish fan, and this too, is where are our stochastics? As we know from the 4-day seminar, stochastics measure overbought and oversold. The stochastics have a 20 line down below, and up top they have an 80 line. And what we want is we want the 3 stochastics, which you see here on both the 1 and the 5, we want them below the 20, and then to come up together towards the 80 line. So we want these 3 trending upward on the 5, and we want these 3 trending upward on the 1. Barb gives us some more caution. She says, we want this trending from the 20 to the 80, but not above the 80. So if, for example, this on the 5 minute was down here, or maybe trending up and it was past the 20, but over here it's already at the 80, do we have a trade? No, we don't. That's right. And why? What's the keyword? What are we looking for between these two charts? There you go. In sync, matchy-matchy. Yes, very good. All right, good. So she says we want the 3 stochastics, the 20, the 50, the 100, coming up from the 20 towards the 80, but not above the 80. The HMA turns green on the 5 minute, and is already green on the 1, or the HMA is already green on the 5 and turns green on the 1. Here's a note. The tighter together the 3 stows are at the bottom, the better the trade. And I got to tell you, when I see that, I love it. So let's let this continue to play out a little bit, and then we'll look at this third set of criteria, which involves the quant. Is everybody okay if I minimize this set of rules here? I'm going to bring it back up again, so have no fear that this is the last that you'll see it. Okay. The key to this trade is being patient, being willing to wait. And you're going to see why. Because it's not done. It's not done, is it? It's still making up its mind. Are we going below the S3? We're going to hang on to the S3, or are we going to go up towards that 50 and start some moving average crosses? So now let's stop. It's 5:40. 25 more minutes have gone by. And look what's happened. Essentially, it's kind of just gone sideways, hasn't it? It really has. And what caused that? The degree of the 20. And obviously, you know, how far down the price had come. This 20 creates a barrier. It goes up and it repels off of it. It repels, it repels, it repels. And so now if we take a look at the criteria, a couple more things have shown up. The MACDs on both charts are still below, but on the 1-minute chart, it's starting to trend up. So that's good. So now we're just waiting on this 5. We need this blue line. It's still going down a little bit. We need it to start coming up towards the center line, and then we can feel comfortable about thinking about getting into a trade. We also need these 3 stochastics to start coming up. Look how tight those are. They may not be that tight when it's our turn to enter the trade, but look how tight they are right now. And I just realized something. I didn't explain to you what I have on my charts and why. Okay, I'm a huge fan of simplicity. I've also been a huge fan of every single one of the indicators that Barb has ever created. Huge fan of the gap close one, huge fan of the HFT fade, huge fan of the CT, which is the clear trade indicator, huge fan of the fractals, huge fan of the one in front of you that you see, which is called SMA regions. I kind of became an indicator junkie. So I went to rehab, went to Melanie's rehab, and she basically said, Rob, look, I want you to take off the charts what you do not use. She said, why do you use a fractal? I couldn't answer the question. She said, take it off. So why do you have the CT indicator on your chart? You don't even do clear trades. I don't know. Let's take it off. And one by one, we started yanking things off the chart. And what we were left with were the moving averages, which you see here. And by the way, what I've done on one, I've done on the other. Okay, so these mimic each other or match each other. So I have the moving averages because I'm a big fan of seeing what the moving averages are doing. As we know, it tells us where the trend is headed. It tells us what's going on. And when the moving averages start to do the crosses, like it's getting ready to happen over here, it just becomes really obvious. So I didn't want to take off the 50 or take off the 100 or any of that. And I want to know where 200 is on the 1-minute chart, because that's where the bulls and the bears meet. That's where they fight. I want to know. So moving averages, and then this big thick moving average right here, this is called the HMA. And this has been one of the coolest indicators ever, because it's real clear. I mean, red obviously signifies short, green signifies long. And so, if you're trying to go short and this bad boy's red, you might have just made a mistake. So it's become a real obvious indicator and a very big help to my trading. And so then, of course, the only other thing I have on this first panel is the candles, and I want to see momentum. I like seeing momentum, but I also like seeing momentum divergence. I like seeing when the momentum leaves the candles. Down below in the second panel, I use the colored MACD. I don't really focus on this color in here. I told everybody last week, and the only reason I have this on here is because pure aesthetics. I want this chart to look pretty, but I don't want it to look cluttered. I made the center line thicker, this histogram thicker, and then down below I have the three stochastics, the 20, the 50, and the 100. And that's all I'm using on the NinjaTrader charts. So back to the perfect trade. 3 stows, we're still waiting for the ones on the 5-minute to start coming upward, trending upward towards the center or the 80 line, and we're waiting for the MACD to start trending towards the center line. One thing has shown up here which I like too. We got a green HMA. And what do we see here? I mean, we see this thing tuckering out. This is a gap close, okay? And when you look over here and you see that 13 has crossed the 20 with success, it leads me to believe that this is going to continue a gap close. May not be the right time to hop into one, which we're not talking about gap closes, but that's what's sitting in front of you right now. And we know from studying the moving average crossovers in the self-study program that this guy's next target is the 50 moving average, which is up here. You can't see it. Now, one other thing that I have that I failed to mention, see this box right here? This shows me the degrees of the 13 EMA. And I have that on the 1, and I have that on the 5. Okay, one of you asked a great question about the colored histogram. This actually corresponds with the colored oscillator on the Segredo quant. So if we were to look at the quant, the oscillator would be gold. And over here, the oscillator would be red. I'm going to show you what the oscillator is here in just a sec. Let's continue this trade using the NinjaTrader charts, and then I'm going to share with you what it looks like on the Segredo quant. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And as this is building, as I'm watching this, I'm making sure that this MACD is not at the center line yet, and I'm concerned about where this is headed. This is getting kind of close to the 20. I'm sorry, it's aiming towards the 80 line, but now it's headed back down. So I know I can relax for a little bit. I have nothing to do. Why? Because I'm waiting for these 3 stochastics to point back up, this to be trending up, the price action to be trending up, the HMA to be green. I want this to be green, I want this to be trending up, and I want this to be trending up. You're just looking at matchy-matchy between these two charts. And it's a good thing that we didn't jump in earlier, try to tell the marker where it was going to go, or try to anticipate this move. And again, just reiterating that this trade is all about being patient. It's about being willing to wait. And so an hour's gone by. Look, it's almost 6:15. And it's kind of just gone sideways for an hour. Now check this out. I'm a little bit late on this, but we've got a green HMA. The MACD is trending upward. The 3 stochastics are tightly aiming upward, trending upward. The MACD is still trending to the center line and has not touched it yet, so I feel good about that. We've got 3 stochastics trending upward. They're not as tight as I want, but they are trending upward. And now the price action has hit the 50. Let's take a look at our criteria. This point is in. It is showing on the chart. This point is in. It's showing on the chart. It's time to pull up the dome. Now, I'm going to get some questions on this. Where's a good spot to enter? That is up to you. Each one of you is going to have your own comfort level while on your path to mastery and trading. Some of you are going to feel totally comfortable entering at level 0. And some of you, it's going to be level 1 or level 2. So I don't know if there's really a right answer on that. So I'm going to put the order in right here. I am a couple minutes past where I actually wanted to be, but let's see what happens. Is it going to pass me up? Yes, it is. While I'm waiting for the charts to load up, I'll answer some of your questions. This is a good question. On the MACD, is it only the blue line that you are really watching? Yes. Doesn't the stochastic have to go beyond the 20? Well, yeah, we want it to, but in order to enter, not necessarily so. You'll see it because this is a 1 minute chart and this is a 5 minute chart, that it will have already passed the 20 on this one, and in some instances not on this one. I tell you what, Laura, I'll be more than happy to expand the rules so everybody can take a screenshot. I just want to get through this trade real quickly, and then we can certainly do that. So I'm going to enter at level 0 on this trade. Can't believe how slowly this is moving. All right, now I'm going to play this kind of on high. So it filled pretty quickly on the first 3. Now, some of you, let's stop this for a second. Why did I enter a 3-6 entry? I entered a 3-6 entry because of this. When these two charts are in sync, you can go for 6 ticks. When they're not as in sync, not as closely related, you should only go for 3. Okay? But I've drilled this trade so many times, and when everything matches on the MACDs and the stochastics, it's okay to go for 6. Will it fill right away like some of Melanie's trend trades? Absolutely not. We're changing directions. Right now what we're turning is an aircraft carrier, and we're doing it ever so slowly. So there's going to be some dilly-dally. That's what gap closes do, and that's what gap closes that continue on into reversals do. And why? Because the 50 is a barrier, the S3 is a barrier. If the 100 moving average was right here, that'd also be a barrier. So it would go up, it'd bounce off, it'd come back down, and it'd freak us out. It'd go back up, make us happy, we'd feel good, we'd feel successful, glad we stayed in the trade, it'd hit the S3, and then it'd come back down, and we would look at our dome, we'd kind of freak out. But after a while, you're going to get comfortable, especially if you do the drilling that I'm going to prescribe to you at the end of the night, because you'll know what's going on. It's when we know what's going on that we feel comfortable. It's when we don't know that we start to get nervous. Good question. Do I always use the ATM strategies? No, I don't. No, I don't. But when I want to do a 3-6, oftentimes I will. The good thing about this trade is you don't have to be lightning fast at entering anything. You got plenty of time. Your key chart is the 5-minute chart. It doesn't move fast like the 1 minute or a 30-second chart. So you got time, and I could have manually gone over here and entered with the 2 and then changed this to a 1 and then entered my first target at 3 and all of that. But for the sake of just moving on and being quicker with my examples for you, I wanted to just use the ATM strategies. By the way, Some of you missed this point last week. I want to bring it up because it's extremely relevant. If you do use the ATM strategy, never, ever, ever click this close button. Why? Because they penalize you by 15 ticks. Why? I don't know. So if you're ever using ATM strategy, do not click on close. Instead, what I want you to do is move this down to where this was, and it will get you out of the trade. So let's continue on here. So we entered this trade at 6:16. We've been in it for 4 minutes. It satisfied our first 3-tick target. It's getting really close, so we're getting really excited because it's getting close to the second target, and we just want to try and push it up with our hands, don't we? Have any of you tried to do that? Oh, it's so close. Sometimes it even touches it and doesn't fill you. Okay, so we were in that trade for 6 minutes, and if you know what to expect through this, the ups and the downs, the more that you drill this, the more comfortable you be. All right. Good question about that ATM strategy and clicking close. The question was, can you drag your stop up to it? Not when you're trading live. When you're trading live, NinjaTrader makes a horrendous noise when you try and do it. And it kind of freaks you out a little bit, so don't even try it. Instead, just move your profit target to wherever the price is at if you want to get out, and get out. Otherwise, you're going to do it repeatedly, and then you might be inclined to click this close button because you're nervous, or that red X that was over here, and then it takes out your profit and your stop, and then you're really in a fine jam. So yeah, just don't ever click on the close if you're going to use the ATM strategy. So for the night traders, take a look at this. We're on the 6J. It's nighttime. If you're in the Central Time Zone, it's 6:22. If you're in New York, it's 7:22. And you know, you got your first trade. Congratulations. Now, some of you are going to say, "Is that all?" And as a coach, I just want to show up by asking you this question. What more do you need? I want to take a poll here, and this poll is going to anyone who trades at night. If you could do this 5 days a week for 30 days straight, would that change things in your morale? Would that change things in your life? Would you be happy with that? $100 in 6 minutes. I'm getting lots of yeses, getting lots of big times. Yes, most definitely, I think so. Of course, because if you can do that with 2, you can do it with 6, and there's the point right there. So if Melanie were in the room, she'd give you a cookie. I'm going to give a tiramisu. That's the key. That's the key to being a shadow trader. It's not to see how many trades you can do. It's to see how many contracts you can trade. Because again, the trading criteria doesn't change between 1 and 7 contracts. It's the same. Widening this for the person who asked for it earlier. So I guess at this point, maybe it's appropriate for me to challenge those of you who want to be night traders. Just do one trade. Sit and wait for the Japanese yen to give you matchy-matchy on the MACD, matchy-matchy on the stochastics, the correct color on the HMA, and pull the trigger. I'm going to minimize this for a second because now I want to show you something cool. Let's talk about the quant. Love me some quant. All right. pulling up the 5 minute. I don't use the 1 minute on the quant. I use the 5 minute, okay? Now, obviously on replay, the quant's a little different, right? It's always live. So I'm limited as to how far back I can go, but let's go back to that trade in particular. And by the way, oh, I just messed that up. No. Okay. We entered the trade at 6:15 Central Standard Time. This is Eastern Standard Time. Okay? So that puts us right about right here. You have a 1 on the quant. If we pull up the criteria, I'm going to minimize this. For the Segredo, what we're looking for is a 1 or 2 or a 3 in green numbers and a yellow or green oscillator in green HMA. Note from Barbara, should see the silver moving average cross the HMA. I've learned that when Barbara says should, that means you really should. So definitely see the silver moving average crossing the HMA. And what do we see right here on this one? Green HMA, because we're going long. Green candle, great. Yellow oscillator, and a 1. So now let's do this. Since this candle finishes at 1920, which is 720, it started 5 minutes ago because they're 5 minute bars. I'm going to go back to 6:15. Okay. Try to put this right side of the edge so that we know what it would closely represents what we're actually doing in the moment. You got to be really, really careful with this. Got to be a surgeon when you move this thing. Oops. Yeah, maybe I need to. All right, so a 1 shows up. Come on now. This is what we'll ideally be moving to in the future classes. You'll see a Segredo chart or maybe a couple different charts, and you'll see a dome. Now, there's a couple things that you see on the Segredo, which, by the way, let me explain this chart really quickly. This silver line is the fast moving average, closely represents the 13 EMA. We have the 14 HMA, which is the link between these candles here. You obviously have candles, red depicting short, green depicting long, and the Segredo counts from 1 to 9. 1 meaning the start of a new cycle or trend, 1 meaning get in, and in this case 2 or 3 as well. And then down below, and so when it makes it to 7 or 8, when Barb released the quant, she said get out at 7, because why would you want to wait for this and have some drawdown if you were headed short and give up some ticks back to the market? So enter on 2 or 3, make sure you're out by 7. And then down below we have the oscillator. Now, for the purposes of perfect trades, we're looking for yellow oscillators with green numbers. And on the flip side, we're looking for blue oscillators with red numbers. Okay, so I'm going to enter at the moment that the quant gave me a 1, okay? Which, again, this bar ended at 720. So it started at 7:15. And I'm going to enter manually. Okay, and so we'll enter our first profit target at 3 ticks, and the second one at 6 ticks. And the reason that I'm entering the 3-6 again is because everything is in sync. If you're ever in doubt, you can minimize your Segredo, and you can look at the Shadow Traders or the NinjaTrader charts. But I also know that this thing's been coming for a while. We saw an attempt at a gap close here, and then this time it was for real, and then it came back down, you know, and now we know this is changing, and the HMA is crossing the 13 EMA. And so we entered this trade at 6:15. We've been in it for 4 minutes. We've already made our first 3 ticks, which is fantastic. Now we're just waiting for us to be filled. There we go. So it's a 6-minute trade, a 7-minute trade. Pretty cool, huh? Wouldn't that be cool if this was your only chart that you had to look at? Or wouldn't it be cool if the mindset, rather than looking at the NinjaTrader charts first, waiting for the setup there, and then using this for your confirmation, that you just sat and watched this, and you watched it go down, go down, go down, attempt a gap close, but no, it wasn't ready yet, and you kept looking at everything in relation to the NinjaTrader charts, and then at this moment you saw, hey, it was time to pull the trigger. Pretty cool. The question is, am I on a 5-minute or 1-minute Segredo? I'm on a 5-minute, and I can change that right there. If I wanted to see what the 1-minute was doing in real time in relation to the 5, then that's how I would do it. And then I could also look at the 15-minute if I wanted to use a higher time frame. Over here, I could also change the instrument to anything that's offered in Segredo Quants. I can also change the chart right here. I can do just the candlesticks, just the oscillator, or both. And so I have this setting on Segredo means both. So someone's asking, what does the L do? You know, I don't know. I don't know. What I want you to do is to direct that question to the help button that's on the front page of the Segredo Quants website. You'll get an answer. You could also go, yeah, I think that would be the best place to enter that. Dolores, you want to know which is more powerful, candles or oscillator? I don't know. I use them together, so I don't think of them independently. Oh, cool. I'm getting lots of help. Thank you very much, guys. So L means to link the charts. I'm going to mess around with that by the next class and show y'all how that works. I would assume that it has a similar concept to that of NinjaTrader, but I haven't done it, and so I don't think it would be fair because I want to show you some more examples. We've showed one for the night traders, and now let's show one on the euro for the day traders. So let's close this out. Okay, hold on just a second. There's something that's come up in the window that has my attention. Okay, Webster, really quickly for you, I'm going to open up the rules one more time, and I want you to take a screenshot. If anyone else hasn't gotten this yet, please take this opportunity. Oh, great, I erased everything. No. Wow. Okay, there's the long. There we go. There's a question about what do the stars or the asterisks on the Segredo mean. Give no significance to those at this moment. Barb is going to notify me when that particular feature is accurate, and we can then assign it meaning, and you'll know to use it as another confirmation on the Segredo charts. Questions on how to do a screenshot, you can hit Control P. If I'm not mistaken, that prints the screen. Some of you will have a program that you'll open up to do a screenshot. Janice wants to know, trade the yen from 5 Central until, there's moves up until midnight. Because I have to be at work early, I don't usually stick it out for that long. But if there at some point between 5 Central and midnight Central, the perfect trade will have shown up. Okay, screenshot. Control plus print screen, which is a button on your keyboard. Can we see the long? Absolutely. On a Mac screen, for those of you that are on Mac, Control Shift 3. Okay, so is everybody good with the rules on long and short? Have I given this enough time on the screen? I want to make sure. Just throw some Y's for yes at me if we're good on this. All right. These rules are not in the members download section of the website. That's a great question, Sonny. I'll talk to Barbara to see if she wants to put them up there. I think it'd be a great place to put them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. Thank you for the questions. This is good. This allows each one of us to learn. I'm a big believer in asking questions. Okay, now for those of you that like to trade during the day, we're gonna do the euro. And in a similar format, we'll show this first, and then we'll talk about the Segredo. And as we progress as a class, we'll talk more and more about the Segredo and less about the NinjaTrader charts. So let me look at the time I need to go to. Edward wants to know, he said he's built my charts, wants to know why the SMA regions are set to calculate on bar close true. Simply haven't changed it. Haven't changed it. Set them to false if you'd like. I mean, I'm glad you asked. There's no particular reason that I did that. Again, the SMA regions, which is this colorful fill in right here between the 13 EMA and the 20 SMA is there for aesthetics, because it makes a pretty chart for me. Do I use Segredo or Ninja in most of my trading? I use Segredo. So I'll watch the Segredo, and then I come back here to make sure that all these boys and girls are in sync, and then I pull the trigger. All right, so here we are at 9:30. Well, we're waiting to get there. I got to change the instrument. So now this is for the day traders, those that want to trade during the day. And again, the euro, best time to trade the euro, sometimes early morning at literally 2 and 4 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, but definitely while the market is trading. I'll tell you when not to trade it is when Ben Bernanke opens his mouth. All right, come on, 1 minute, let's go. There we go. Fantastic. Let's try and keep this. All right, so in similar fashion to what I did earlier, I want to start this a little bit early because, again, this is the clear indication that your turn to dance is coming up, all right? When you see this, you should get excited. And as it's building, a beautiful bearish fan, you're just sitting there waiting, which is, again, the key to the trade. Be patient, wait, and make this chart and the Segredo chart give you what you want and what you feel most comfortable in entering the trade. So we've got the MACD down below the center line over here, but not quite yet on the 5. We've got the stochastics below the 20 on the 1, which is fantastic, and that's building on this side. So obviously you can sit and watch. Nothing to do yet except for wait. Let me speed this up a little more. And so this is the move at 10:30. Okay, it says 9:30. This is Central Standard Time. So just those of you that are day traders, we're at 10:30, and some of you may have traded this today. But we got a beautiful fan happening on the 1 minute, starting to build on the 5. And the market is getting ready to give you what you've asked for, financial independence, one trade at a time. This thing just keeps going, huh? Going down. You can tell the party's almost over on this, right? You look at the 1 minute chart, it's starting to get really, really attracted to the 13 EMA. And now look, we got a cross building up on the 1 minute chart. Because of the slant of the 20, it's going to have to take a couple runs at it. That 20 was coming down with a vengeance too. And so now let's stop. Let's take a look at what we've got built towards the criteria. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit because it's covering everything. We're looking at a long criteria, right? And what do we need? We need the MACDs to be below. We've got them on both charts. It's starting to trend up over here, but not over here yet, so there's nothing to do yet. We've got the 3 stochastics, which is the second set of criteria, trending up towards the 80, but not at the 80 yet. And that's not happening over here yet, so we need to wait. We don't have a green HMA, so there's lots of reasons not to do anything at this moment. Doug, I'm getting ready to answer your question. Doug wants to know at what point do you get in? And we'll solve that mystery. So just watch what this is doing. Think of it as a battleship trying to make a U-turn in a harbor. Not so easy, right? It's been going and going and going. I got a little concerned because I thought these stochastics were going to take a run without the others because these guys are just sitting down here doing nothing. But then these three stochastics came back down below the 20 line, so that was pretty cool. We're not in danger of the MACD hitting the center line yet, so all we can do at this moment is just wait. I'm going to speed this up a little more. Look at that 50 coming down on the 1 minute with a vengeance. That's going to stop any price action that heads towards it, if it's still at that angle for sure. Let's speed it up even more. I may have gone too far back. I just wanted to give you a good example of what it looks like when this starts to build up, whether it's going, you know, the price is plunging or if the price is rapidly ascending, so that you could get a real good example of what it looks like before the trade actually shows up. So we know at some point it's to exhaust and turn back around. Oh, okay, so Douglas clarified. At what point did you get in on the beautiful short? Well, unfortunately, I had to watch this on the Segredo Quant because I was at work today. But I'm hoping someone in this room caught this going down. If you're a clear trader and you're watching this right now and you're a trend trader, I hope you caught this and I hope you got your fill. All right. We're getting close to the time of entry. Why? Because the 13 is crossed the 20. We've got the MACD trending towards the center line. The stochastics are a little wonky right now. Right? They look like split hairs. We need all three of these to trend upward towards the 80. We're seeing a little bit more excitement over here now. These three stochastics are starting to show interest in trending upward, but we don't see a trend upward on the MACD yet. And boom, look, we got a green HMA coming in, which is fantastic, which is something that we need per this second criteria right here, second rule. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up. And again, we're just waiting, but we're getting excited, and we're trying to control that. We don't want to get in too early. We want to make this chart give us exactly what Barb's rules say. So a lot of time has passed. Another 4 minutes has passed. It's doing its moving average crosses. It's making the play to the 50. We know that the 50 is going to be a barrier because look at the angle on that. We're still safe over here. We're not in danger of this hitting the center line yet. Your three stochastics are going trending towards the 80. These are trending towards the 80. And this is starting to trend upward. So who thinks at this point we should get in and who would like to wait? That's the first question. Who thinks we should get in at this point based on the criteria that you see in front of you? Okay, Ray and Eddie say get in. Vicky says let it bounce off the 50. Laura says I say wait. All right, depending on what your time frame is. Wait for bounce to be over. Wait for pullback. Wait. So we're close to 50-50 in this room on that. MACD on the 5-minute chart is not ready. Well, let's see what happens if we wait. Will it pass us up? Look at that action on the 1-minute chart off the 50. And what's causing that? Both the 50 and we know what? When this price hits the 13, it bounces like the rocket's landing on the moon. If we look down here at the MACD, it still hasn't quite committed and come up yet, but we are getting close. I like what I see right now. I'm pausing this. I like this bending. It's bent upward a couple times now. We got 3 tight stows on the 5 going upward. We're not in danger over here. This is still below. The 20 has come down a little bit, but we've, it is trending upward. We've got a green HMA. We've got a green HMA. Who feels comfortable getting in? All right, let's do it. It is penetrating the 50, Vicky, that's right. So who wants to do a 3-6 trade? Is there enough here to do a 3-6 trade, I guess is a better question. Going long, yes. Okay. I'll just show you for the sake of variety a level 1 entry. I hope it picks me up. I'm confident that it might. This may pass me up. Yep. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, I'm seeing some commentary on the stochastics over here. I'm with you. I would much rather see both of them look like this. This gives me a lot more comfort. But what we're looking for conceptually is what Barber has on the rules over here. The 3 stows are coming up from the 20 towards the 80, but not above the 80. The other thing, and then there's, of course, the note from her, which says the tighter the 3 stows are at the bottom, the better the trade. Well, we have that on the 5. So that's good, right? And sometimes I think we add extra significance. And I've certainly done that with Barb's rules. I mean, I've broken almost all of her rules at least 2 or 3 times to make sure that she meant what she said. I'm not going to repeat that mistake. All right, let's go. And so what I'm looking at, just so you know, when I'm in this trade and what I'm expecting is, I'm expecting this to go past the 50 because it's definitely showing that it wants to. But when I look over here, this is my next barrier. I guess I better put in some profits. This may come back down to the 13 on the 1, and if it did, it might make some of us kind of nervous. But if you keep drilling this over and over again, you'll expect to see stuff like this. You'll know that just like gap closes dilly-dally, so do reversals. I mean, Melanie has said that week in and week out, hasn't she? I like the fact that these 3 stows are coming up together. I like the fact that the MACD is going up. I like the fact that it just got 3 ticks. I'm going to wait it out. We know that this isn't done going up yet because it's got, this blue line has to clear the histogram. And we see our friend, the 100 moving average coming in. We know it's going to make a play towards that. That would be your northernmost barrier at this point. How many people are getting nervous? you're in this trade and you see it go down 5 against you, first loss of 20, uh-oh, I'll tell you what's causing that. This slant right here. It's repelling it. Now, honestly, when I first started doing these trades, if I saw this, I'd close out. I'd give the market some money. And then I'd sit and watch this happen afterwards, and it was the most gut-wrenching thing. It used to make me really angry. So, you know, the coaching that I've received from Melanie is just to not, you know, stop doing that. Yeah, so let's take a look. How long was this trade? $10.40 to 11, so it's about a 20-minute trade. Some of you aren't going to be comfortable with that. What would make you comfortable with that is drilling it over and over and over again. All right, so now let's take a look at the quant. And let's see if we got in when the quant said we should have, without even looking. Okay, so everybody, what I've pulled up is the 5-minute euro. Okay, and again, all your adjustments can be made up here. I need to move something really quickly. And this is where you slide your, this is where you take a look back. Okay, almost there. And here it is right here. So at 11:30, which would be 10:30 my time, it gave us a 1. Now, if we look at the rules, it says you should see, and this is what I'm referring to right here. It says for Segredo, we need a 1, a 2, or 3 in green numbers, and yellow or green oscillator in green HMA. Should see the silver moving average crossing the HMA. So if I were right side of the edge, and this is what I was looking at, I would not get in because I like to see this HMA cross the 13. So I would have entered on a 3 in this case. Now, because we've done the trade, we know if we would have entered on a 1, would it have been profitable? Yes. So let's now go back to the time frame. This bar ended at 11:40, which means it started at 11:35. I'm going to move this. We're going to get to the point with this quant that we're such good friends with it that when it gives us a 1, it gives oscillators that we're looking for. Is it there yet? No. The question, how long do I trade each evening? You know, I'm getting my 3 ticks or my 6 ticks, and I'm getting off because I'm really trying to limit the amount of trades that I enter, because that's a problem for me. It may not be a problem for everybody in this room. It's a problem for me. Melanie challenged me to do, you know, 1 trade and start stacking contracts. All right. All right, so here we are. It's 10:35. You're looking at the quant. It gives you a 3. It's green. You got a yellow oscillator with a green number. A 3 is okay according to Barb's rules. And we have a green HMA, which is crossing the 13. So,
Order pending. Order canceled. Order pending. Order filled.
okay.
Order pending. Order pending.
Now keep in mind, just imagine if you were watching this cigarette, you're going to see this bar going down. So that was much quicker. That's amazing, right? Imagine if you were just watching the quant, you're going to see this bar, you know, grow and then shrink, then grow and then shrink, then grow and then shrink, and the next one turns red, and so on. So, you know, I don't know that I'll ever stay into a trade until number 7, but you know, according to this, you know, it went sideways. You know, some of you are going to want to see how long you can stay in these for. Be like seeing how long you can stay on a surfboard for. So, okay, so those of you, now I want to address those of you that trade during the day. This phenomenon does not happen all the time, okay? It doesn't happen all the time. But when it happens, and it provides an opportunity for you to trade. And if the 1-minute chart on your Ninja charts is in sync with the 5, you can get a 3-6 entry. You know, Melanie showed the 3-6 trade. I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever, because once the first target has been achieved, you're really only in the trade now with one contract at risk, and you're able to do 112.50 and then back out your commissions, of course. But for those of you that trade during the day, how would it impact your trading, and how would it impact your morale, and how would it impact your life? And would that, doing this one time a day for 30 days straight, would that change anything for you? Absolutely, big time, yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you know, it's about being able to do it over and over and over again, to the point to where you know you can do it at will. Because again, if imagine if you did this once a day and logged off and did this for 30 days, your account's going to look pretty good. Your morale's going to look really great. You're going to feel real sassy. And I'll share with you this. When Melanie first started, she would do 13, 20 crosses. She would do a couple, and then she'd log off. And she started stacking her contracts. But she said this. She said, Rob, when I did my first 13, 20 cross and I looked down on the dome and it said $25, I knew I was free, because I knew if I could do it once, I could do it twice. And so that's where we're headed on this. That's where we're headed. It's really just about control. And we'll talk more about this next week, but I'm pretty sure that most of you didn't get into this, and I didn't see anything on the screen come up when I asked this question. You know, your purpose is not to sit and look at a screen either all morning or all evening. Most of you said it was to do other things. So wouldn't it be cool if you knew with confidence that you could do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc., and then change this 1 eventually to a 10, add a 0 onto that, and you've got 1,200, almost 1,100 bucks. And by the way, it builds really quickly. How about that? Now you're at 2,000 a day. 2,000 times 5 is 10,000 a week. Times 4 is 40,000 a month. Times 12 is $480,000 a year. But you got to be willing to start there. Or be willing to start with a 3-tick trade and be willing for this to say 3750. 3750 adds up quickly. 37 times 5, it's 150. By the end of the month, if you've done extra good, maybe you add another contract. So now you're at 2. What's wrong with trading 2? You can go from trading 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 pretty quickly. And maybe next week I'll show you a spreadsheet that a friend of mine made me, what that looks like over the year. You know, imagine getting to the point where you wake up, let's say you're a day trader, you wake up, you get your coffee. If you have animals, you love on your animals. You turn on the screen, you wait for a 3-tick trade to show up. Maybe it's the perfect trade and you're waiting on a 1, a 2, a 3, and all the things we've been talking about tonight. Do your 3-tick trade. It takes 3 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever, and you're done for the day. But because you were trading 80 to 100 contracts, you don't have to go back in the market. You're done. Time to go to lunch. Time to do whatever it is you want to do. The rest of the day is yours. Your purpose is being achieved. Getting a lot of questions on how many contracts am I trading at once. It doesn't really matter. I'm not trading but a couple at this point. But if I was trading 50, it wouldn't matter. I'm not where I want to be right now, and I'm forced to practice control. And for me, control is limiting the amount of trades that I'm doing, and not getting tricked out and want to try the next cool trade. To take the one that works and do it over and over and over again. I mean, how many of you in the room try to change how you do dishes throughout the year? You do it the same way every time. There's a reason for that, because the way you do it works. So let's take a look back. Let's review. So we talked about focusing on the desired outcome. Each one of you is a creator. Focus on your desired outcome. Don't focus on the losses. Don't focus on the what ifs. Don't focus on the things that other people who have never traded before and probably won't and don't even have the guts to go after their own goals, but just want to specialize in being a critic. Ignore them. They don't know what they're talking about. Focus a lot on your purpose, and focus on your purpose as much as you focus on practicing the trades. Which brings me to the next point. Whatever your trade is, it may not be the perfect trade. Maybe it's a clear trade. Maybe it's a gap trade. But for those of you that like what you see here with the perfect trade and you like the incorporation of using the Segredo Quant, I recommend that every single day you find one trade like this and you pull up your dome and you go to the moment of the entry and you do it 20 times. Get a sheet of paper and make tick marks and do 20 times. That's the equivalent of Tiger Woods when he's finished with a round of golf. He goes to the driving range and he hits a bucket of balls, which is anywhere from 50 to 70 balls. LeBron James, probably does free throws. Larry Bird used to do free throws. These guys keep practicing and practicing and practicing. And there's a couple ways that you can drill it. You can drill what we've talked about tonight just using the NinjaTrader chart, the NinjaTrader charts, and that's fine, and you can use the rules that we talked about. You can drill it using both the Segredo and the NinjaTrader charts, and there's two ways that you can do that. You can focus on the NinjaTrader charts and use the Segredo as your confirmation, or you can watch Segredo charts and then peek over at the NinjaTrader charts to make sure that it's in sync, and you can drill it that way and do your 20 free throws there. Or you can drill it as you can see it right here with just a dome and your good old friend Mr. Segredo, and you can practice doing 3 tick trades, 6 tick trades, find out what's going to work best for you and your plan. I don't care. I just want you to do what works for yourself. Whether it's 3 ticks or 6 ticks doesn't matter to me. And drill it. Build this into your day. Do 20 free throws a day. Pat yourself on the back. Call it a done. And what that's going to do is when this guy shows up and it's time, you're clicking in because you've seen it 20 times a day. If you drill that 5 times a week, that's 100 shots you've taken. I want to encourage you to keep this simple. Just keep this simple and keep only on your charts what you're actually using. And again, if we look at the rules, there is nothing on here that talks about fractals or anything else, and that is why I don't have them on there. So only keep on your charts what you're using. I've got the 20, the 50, and the 100. I've got the HMA color change. I've got momentum in my candles. I've got the soup res, which basically helps the moving averages demonstrate whether there's support and resistance. I've got the colored MACD, again, the color just for aesthetics. I want a pretty chart. I don't actually look at the red. Got the bar timer because I want to know how much time is left. I've got the Shadow Traders pivots. I've got the SMA regions, which is this right here. Red for long, green for short, but again, just for aesthetics. You can set this to calculate on bar close true, and this part will be colored in. That's why that person asked, why do you have it set to true? You know, because they were concerned that there might actually be a reason therein. I didn't ever change this right here. And then, of course, I've got the slope box multi. I want to know that the slant of the 13 at particular times. So hopefully that's helpful. Great question, Dan. I hope I understand. Are you asking me, is the HMA, did I make any changes to the HMA? If that's accurate, the answer is no. I just simply added it, and I made it fatter. I wanted it to be wider than the moving averages above. I really wanted it to, I like obvious, and I need help with obvious. You know, the more obvious it is, the less excuses I can conjure up in the moment to not take the trade. So, you know, I wanted the 14 HMA to be wider. Don, you want to know if I use kinetic data or CQG? I use CQG right now. Dylan, can you ask your question another way? I don't quite understand. But I want to make sure you get an answer. Good question. What does the bar timer do? The bar timer tells you how much time is left in that candle. So on the 1 minute, it's a 1 minute clock and it counts down. And on the 5 minute chart, it's a 5 minute. See where it says we got 3 minutes and 37 seconds left. Do I use a static dome or a dynamic dome? I believe is static. Static is the one that stays still. That's the one I use. The dynamic, this bad boy right here, shoots all over the place, and it's like trying to shoot a gnat with a 22. It doesn't work very well. Someone wants to know my name. My name is Rob Thomas. I'm not in the band Matchbox 20. Fred, thank you. Thank you very much. How do you build? Dylan, let's see. How do I? I'm trying to understand your question. I'm not sure. Dylan, I'm sorry. I still don't understand the question. I want to, but I don't. Dan gets creativity points tonight. This is, am I wanted on any planet? Yes, I am. I'm wanted on this one. So, guys, before we log off here, I'm going to go ahead and end off.